dominating. Now, someone did take a loss in the basketball world this week, though, and I love her, but she's wrong here. Sheryl Swoopes, former WNBA player, we all know that, current host of Queen of the Court podcast. She had some thoughts. She's had some thoughts previously about Caitlyn. She would later have to apologize of those thoughts being uninformed, taking she shoots like 60 shots a game, just being a little bit inflammatory and critical without any actual analysis. And she apologized for that during the women's college season. And she's now stepped in it again by saying that Indiana is in the playoffs right now without Caitlin Clark. By saying that like Katie Lou Samuelson's really more integral in terms of her two-way ability than Caitlin, and also saying that, and I don't besmirch her for this because lots of people are making arguments for whether they think that it is Angel Reese or Caitlin Clark that should be Rookie of the Year. I've said that I think it's Caitlin, but that I could understand someone making an argument for the other. It's not hate to make an argument for Angel Reese, so I don't take any issue with that part. But the other part, it just feels like there is something there, and I'm not really sure what is not connecting with Cheryl and why. And I don't know if some of that is driven in sort of the hurt that she felt from the fan base or some of the attacks that were leveled at her after she had those comments a few months ago. But this feels really, really, really off par. This just doesn't feel right at all. And it is starting to feel a little bit like hate from Cheryl, who just in this particular space, stop. Like if the Fever, who won a handful of games last year, are in the playoffs this year, then you have to understand that a large part of that is Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston. Either one of them. I would have accepted either one of those.
And I'm going to stop it real quick. Look, for those that don't understand, if you think Swoopes thinks the Indiana Fever are solely in the playoffs because of Lou, come on, man. What kind of take is that? Like, were you on medications when you said that? Because that is just out of, like, that is just not even close to the truth. Not even close. Caitlin Clark just had a game where she had 19 assists. She's putting up 13, 15, 16, 12. 13 again, 12, 9, 10. If we did the calculations of the averages of how many points the Indiana Fever have scored off touches from Caitlin Clark, then that statement right there will make her look stupid in itself. Literally. That is the dumbest thing that I've heard all year from her. And I'm sorry to talk like this, but that's the dumbest shit I've heard from Sheryl Swoopes this season. Aaliyah Boston's tearing shit up. Nalissa Smith, Kelsey Mitchell, Lexi Hall playing amazing defense, being active. Don't get me wrong, Lou. Yeah, you making contributions, but you're not doing what Caitlin's doing. You're out of your mind. Caitlin's still averaging, I think, 19 points almost, maybe even more now. She's averaging, I think, about 19 or 17 or 19 points this year. Like, what are we talking about? Plus, almost averaging a double-double with assists. You know how hard that is to do? On the Indiana Fever, I don't even think they won this many games last year. And you want to tell me that a big part of that doesn't have to do with Caitlin Clark? Come on now. That's just some jealousy, hating ass shit from her.
Kelsey Mitchell too. I mean, listen, and you are way closer to the space, to the WNBA space as I am. So I understand you will cross paths with Sheryl Swoopes. So you have to be sort of cautious the way we deliver this about a Hall of Famer, a champion in Sheryl Swoopes. But she is tripping. What is she talking about? The Indiana Fever won 13 games last year, and they were an 11 seed, or they finished 10th out of 12 teams. Right now, they are an 8 seed. They are in the playoffs, 2 wins away with half a season to go to get their total wins from last year. Caitlin Clark leads the team in every statistical category but rebounding. I don't understand what corner you can look at with this argument she's making and be like, you know what? There's some validity there. That's insane. You could make the argument that the Chicago Sky are worse than they were last year. And last year, they were a playoff team. That's crazy. They're on the fringe. So anyway, I know that you've compartmentalized into those being 2 different discussions. Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, that's standalone. But this whole this beef that's very much one-sided, Cheryl Swoopes to Caitlin Clark, is insane,
Yeah.
dude.
And again, I think like, so much respect for Sheryl Swoopes, who she is a person, the things that she's overcome, the player that she was. She is an OG, and certainly so many of these young women stand on her shoulders. But this just doesn't seem built in reality or fact.
No.
Like if you want to make a really critical, analytical argument and you want to support it with research or whatnot, I get that, or even just support it with your own opinion. But this just feels, it feels like it's just not true. It just feels like you're intentionally trying to minimize who she is. And the positive, if I'm looking for one positive in all of this, though, is that if this happens a few months ago, this becomes, see, the women of the W are hating on Caitlyn and they hate her. And we've covered that on this show plenty. What I appreciate is that with time and with the benefit of hindsight on our side, I am noticing much more calm in terms of people saying, this is her opinion. This is not the opinion of everyone in the W. I think there have been enough cases of women in the W over the last few months supporting Caitlyn, showing their support. I think there's been enough of that now that people can now take something that's seemingly inflammatory and give it and lay it at the feet of that person, as opposed to making it an entire diatribe on everyone in the W and how all of these Black women hate Caitlyn Clark. So I will say that's the positive. If this is sort of purely been put at Sheryl Swoopes' feet, like, I don't agree with you here, Cheryl, I'm sorry, as opposed to where it was a few months ago, which is, this is just another example of just the insane amount of hate that's coming her way. I think we've moved past that. I hope so. And I think that this is the greatest indication that we have.
Swoopes, swoops, 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 swoops. Like he said, Caitlin Clark is leading the team in almost every statistic there can be on the damn team, or for the even organization. Attendance, tickets, everything. We're not going to get into that. Besides rebounding. And that has to do with Aaliyah Boston and Nalissa Smith, to be honest. So I'm not even sure how you didn't even bring up Kelsey Mitchell and disrespecting her, or Aaliyah Boston. I'm not sure how you're disrespecting. Like, to me, you're going to say it's not disrespectful, but to me it's disrespectful. The pace of the offense for the Indiana Fever looks completely different. Completely different. And who does that have to do with? Caitlin Clark. Some of the shots that Lou was getting early on, that's because Caitlin Clark was getting double teamed. Wide open 3-point shots. She should be doing that. She should be playing defense. Your point guard should be pushing the pace. Getting your teammates involved. Getting Lou involved. AB involved. Kelsey Mitchell involved. Everybody involved. She's been doing pretty good. They're in the playoffs. They're about to make a push. They're beating some of the best teams I've seen in the WNBA. They look like they could play with pretty much anybody. Was Lou in the All-Star game? Nah. But you had Kelsey Mitchell, Caitlin Clark, and Aaliyah Boston there. You're not going to mention any of them. Hater. Just seems a little bit weird, man. I'm not really sure. We're going to leave it there. We're not going to do too much, but, Cheryl Swoopes, this is not looking good. This is not looking good at all. And I'm not really sure how this is going to play out for you. I know you got some support, but you're definitely losing a lot of people's interest in you as far as what you have to talk about when it comes to Caitlin Clark, because you're not stating facts. And then you're trying to backtrack, but then you're always throwing a little jab in there. Every time I watch you on Gil's Arena or whatever, you're going to make it seem like, oh, I'm not, but then you throw a little jab in there. And it's like, I catch it every time. So I'm going to leave that there, man. It's your boy CEO Kind of Look. If you have not, man, check out Game Day Network. Appreciate you guys. I'll catch you on the next one. All the comments and everything like that, I'm trying to get to them. I appreciate it. I'm reading it. And we'll definitely discuss. Any other content you guys want to see, let me know. We got NFL preseason on the way. I'll get back to you on the next one. We're out of here.